Hi and welcome to my recording for the Festive Tech Calendar 2023. My name is Carl and I'd like to talk to you today about using the Umbraco CMS alongside .NET MAUI to build content managed applications and websites with the latest .NET technologies. So, Umbraco and MAUI. What is Umbraco? It is, for those who don't know, a free and open source content management system for websites built in .NET. It was released originally in around the year 2000, but since 2004 has been open source. The latest version, version 13, supports and runs on the LTS version of .NET 8 and uses the latest C# 12 features. The CMS itself is completely free and open source, but it's supported by paid packages. So there are add-ons for e-commerce, there are add-ons for custom UI development, there's add-ons for forms development, and there's also a hosting package which the core team support called Umbraco Cloud, which will host your sites on their infrastructure. It's completely managed by them. So I encourage you to go and check those out. There's also a fantastic and wide-ranging community of package developers who've built third-party packages and add-ons for Umbraco, which extend functionality, add new features, do a whole host of other stuff, integrate with CRM systems, all that kind of thing. All the common tasks that you'd want to build in a CMS system, there will be a package out there almost certainly. And if not, there's fairly good documentation and a bunch of helpful developers out there who will be quite happy to help you get whatever you need to build created in Umbraco. I've been using it for about 10 years right now, so I'm quite a fan of it. And what I'd like to do today is plug it in to .NET MAUI. So, for those who don't know, .NET MAUI... before we get too far into that, since it's Festive Tech Calendar, and we have a tradition in the UK of having terrible Christmas cracker jokes, so I've got one. I have to apologize in advance. This really is bad. Why is .NET MAUI like a pneumatic pterodactyl? Because the P is silent. I'm sorry, that's just really bad. MAUI stands for Multi-Platform Application User Interface, but as I say, silent P. It is the extension of, or evolution rather, of Xamarin Forms, which is the previous Microsoft framework for cross-platform app development. It'll allow you to build applications for Android, iOS, macOS, Windows, and Tizen. The UI is traditionally built in XAML, but there are other UI frameworks available. Again, I'm not going to dive too deeply into it today. If you want to know more, there's a bunch of online resources on Microsoft, on YouTube, and I can link some to those in the description if you'd like, or just give me a shout. Just at the very top level, what MAUI will do is translate your application code into the various platforms. So the MAUI layer effectively takes your code and configures it to run on the various runtimes. So on Windows, you have the .NET CLR. On macOS, iOS, and Android, you're reliant on the Mono runtime. That sits with the .NET BCLs, which basically are common across all platforms, and then you have a customized UI layer for each platform. So your .NET code in MAUI will look like iOS code when it's run on Android, because you're running through the .NET for iOS UI layer. Similarly for macOS, it will look like macOS code. When you run on Android, it will look like the Android native code, and on Windows, it'll look like Windows code. So, I'm not going to spend too much time on theory today, because I'd like to jump straight into a demo. And the demo I'd like to do is effectively a simple website built on Umbraco. It's just an e-commerce demo site. It's one of the sample apps that come with the CMS system. So we'll set that up, get that going, and then once that's up, we're going to connect a MAUI app that's going to be built from scratch, and we're going to connect to the Content Delivery API, which is a new feature with the latest version of Umbraco, which lets me read content from the same CMS and publish and use it wherever I want to. So in this case, it could be a mobile app, but you could also use this for multiple websites. You could have your content stored in Umbraco, and you could have a front end app built on React or Vue or any other front end framework you want to. You're not reliant on building ASP.NET for this. So with that, let's jump into the demo. So, to the demo, I've got a completely blank slate, and the first thing I'm going to do is install the templates. If you'd like to follow along to this, what I'm doing, by the way, I have a full repository with this project, which I'll link at the end of the demo, which has instructions and a README to just kind of go through step by step what I'm doing over here. So I've installed the template. Obviously, it's already installed on my machine. I'm now going to create a new Umbraco site using a pre-configured user and password so that I know who I'm going to be using. And I'm also going to use SQLite as my data store. Umbraco supports both SQLite and MS SQL. Obviously, SQLite is great for demos and quick, small websites, but not really a full production database. If you want to do that, I'd recommend going MS SQL every time. Even if you're not sure, if you're in doubt, go MS SQL. So we have a new Umbraco website, which will have very little in it. I'm just going to run it to show what the back end of Umbraco looks like. So what this is going to be doing is building and running the database, running the app site, creating the database, putting everything together, obviously. But there'll be nothing inside there because we haven't created any templates yet. Okay, there we go. So my site is up and running. If I browse to it, there's nothing there. It's just an empty Umbraco installation. And I can log in with admin@example.com. These are the credentials that I supplied at the start when I set the site up. So there is, however, nothing inside the backend over here. This is just a completely empty site. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to install a starter kit. So the starter kit is, there are many available. This particular one is an e-commerce demo, which is useful for this particular demo. So I have now installed the starter kit. And I'm going to run the site again, and this time when we run the site, we'll see a bunch of content inside the back end, and we'll see a website on the front end. So with a few commands, we've basically got to the stage where we have a functional working website which has a bunch of products, and these products are what I'm going to be predominantly using in this demo. So besides the products, there are obviously other things, like there's a blog, there's an About Us page, there's Contact Us forms, all kinds of things you traditionally expect in a website. And if I was to reload the back end, rather than nothing, I should now see some content in the back end. Now, this is a completely standalone website. It runs Umbraco and serves pages on Umbraco, but we want to connect to this backend with our Maui application and read products. In order to do that, we're going to be using something called the Content Delivery API. The Content Delivery API is effectively an API endpoint within Umbraco that serves any content, and we can query what we want to. It returns it in a generic structure, so whatever the shape of your content in the website, whether it's products or people or articles or anything, any content that you have, is returned in that same generic structure, so it's consistent. That means it's a little more verbose than you necessarily need. However, it also means it's more flexible for quick demos and also getting up and running quickly. So before we can use the Content Delivery API, I need to enable the Content Delivery API because it's not enabled by default. In order to do that, I go to the app settings and I need to add this section over here. I will link to the Umbraco documentation. It's also again linked to in my repository, where if you want to configure security and authentication, you can add that to here. You can also restrict access based on the types of content you want to be able to serve. So now that I've enabled the content delivery API, this will allow me to launch the website, and I should be able to go to /Embraco/Swagger, and here I will see the Swagger endpoint. So I can now from here test the content delivery API. So for example, if I want to fetch all content from the home page, I can just execute that and it will return what will it return? Nothing. Why did it return nothing? Example, select all with no filters, no salt. Okay. Don't worry about that, we're going to come back to it. So what I want to do is actually only return products in this product section. So I want to restrict it by content type. So for me, what I would do is I would restrict my content here by type, and my type would be product. This is the type that was defined in the back end of Embraco, so I now should be able to execute this, and I will see there are 8 in total, and I should have 8 products inside here, and these relate to the 8 products that we have in our backend. So biker jacket, knitted, West, banjo, etc., etc. There is a tattoo. The sort order is different, but unicorn, ping pong ball, bowling ball, jumpsuit, banjo, there we go, and knitted West and biker jacket. So our products are now returned to us over here. Now I can now create and consume this however I want to, whether that would be a React website or a Vue website, or even a .NET MAUI app. So I'm now going to go and build a .NET MAUI app to consume this data. So I've got a MAUI application over here, which I've basically put together to demonstrate calling the Embraco Content Delivery API. It's a fairly simple application built using typical MVVM design pattern. It's got a main page which lists products in a grid view and collection view, and then if you tap on a product, it will take you to a detail view which actually show you more information about the product itself. At the moment, it's all controlled through this product service. For now, this is just using hard-coded local products over here, so I'm just returning an internal collection of products. If I was to run this application now, it would look a little like this. So 3 products, which I can then click on and browse back and navigate to. So to make this application call into my Embraco Content Delivery API and load products from there, I've published everything to Azure. So I've got a Linux app service running using the basic tier, using the same SQLite database, because again this is just a demo. It's running the same site that we were running previously over here. I've changed the product a little bit just to make it a bit more festive, to match the theme of the calendar. But I will be returning, or I'll be calling to the Content Delivery API to pull these products back and then show them on the actual MAUI application themselves. The URL for that is over here. I've got that. I will have all that configured in my application. So really the only changes I need to make is, rather than calling this hard-coded application over here, I'm going to comment this line out, and I'm going to implement a method saying fetch products from Content Delivery API. Now we need to be able to translate this block of JSON that we get back, which is of a known structure, into classes and the C# side of things when we actually call to that API. So just to save a bit of time, I've got that done too, so I'm just going to paste those classes in. So there we go. So these classes basically represent the schema of the JSON that's returned from the content delivery API. And again, remember, it doesn't matter what your content structure is and shape is, Umbraco will map that to these fields inside here, and every single property will just be a collection inside there. So I can browse any product that I want to using this. So now the only thing that remains is to paste in my implementation for this. So when I'm calling fetch products from content delivery API, all I'm doing is using a basic HTTP client, which hopefully a lot of us are familiar with when calling APIs. And on a success, I'm basically reading the JSON response into my response models, iterating through each result, and then transposing those into my own product class, which the view model will pass to the view and render those products. So if I was to hit play now, if everything works okay, fingers crossed to the demo gods, I should see, here we go. So I'm now seeing the products from our website, and these are the same products that we have on there being pulled back. So my Maui application is now calling directly into my Umbraco content delivery API and pulling these products back and showing them inside here. It's a very simple demo, but hopefully it illustrates just how powerful and how quickly we can get up and running by extending what we already have with a website into a new application and serve the same content in different places. So just to reiterate, what we did with our demo is we had an Umbraco website which was hosted on Azure on a basic Linux app service instance, and I threw together a mobile application which called the content delivery API to pull the same products down from there onto my app. All my code for this application and demo are available on my GitHub. The slides, etc., are all there, so if you'd like to have a look at any of that stuff, please go and check it out. I'm available on Twitter. My name is Carl. I would do a lot of work on the Umbraco community and bits and pieces in Azure and app development as well. I encourage you to check out Umbraco. It's a fantastic content management system, and if you ever need something that is very easy, very quick to throw together, but also extremely powerful, you can't go wrong with Umbraco. Just to say thank you to the entire Azure Tech community for all your work, particularly Greg, putting this Azure Festive Tech calendar together, and just wishing everyone a fantastic 2024. All the best. Thanks.